When baseball fans hear the name Babe, their minds almost always drift to Ruth. But there was another Babe who, for a few remarkable seasons, was one of the most dangerous hitters in the National League. His name was Babe Herman. Born in Buffalo, New York in 1903, Floyd Caves Herman became one of the greatest hitters in the long history of the Brooklyn Dodgers franchise, back when they were known as the Robins. He wasn't polished, he wasn't graceful, he wasn't always sure what was happening once he reached the base paths. But when the bat met the ball, few players in baseball could match him. Some hitters collect statistics. Babe Herman produced spectacles. In 1930, he authored one of the finest offensive seasons ever by a Dodger. He hit just under 400, drove balls all over the park, piled up hits, runs, extra base hits, and total bases at a pace that still echoes through Brooklyn and now Los Angeles history. Nearly a century later, several of those franchise records still stand. And an organization that has featured Hall of Famers across generations, Babe Herman's name remains etched near the top of the record book. That's extraordinary. Yet, if you ask many baseball historians about Babe Herman, the first story they tell probably won't be about his batting average. It'll be about the chaos. Herman became one of baseball's great accidental comedians. He had an uncanny ability to find himself in impossible base-running situations. The most famous involved a play in which three Dodgers somehow ended up crowded around third base at the same time. It was so absurd that it became part of baseball folklore. Whether every retelling is perfectly accurate doesn't matter anymore. The legend became larger than the play itself. Brooklyn fans laughed. Opposing fans laughed. Even Herman eventually laughed. That's one of the beautiful things about baseball. A player's mistakes don't always erase his greatness. Sometimes they become part of the package. And what a package Babe Herman was. He hit for the cycle 3 different times during his career, tying one of the rarest accomplishments in baseball history. Even more remarkably, he completed 2 cycles in a single season, something so unusual that only a handful of major leaguers have ever duplicated it. He wasn't simply a power hitter. He wasn't simply a batting average hitter. He could do everything. Across nearly 2 decades in the major leagues, Herman finished with a lifetime batting average above .320, combining power with remarkable consistency during an era loaded with offensive stars. He later played for Cincinnati, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Detroit, and even returned to Brooklyn before finally stepping away from the game during World War II. But baseball wasn't finished with Babe Herman. He spent years as a scout helping shape future generations of the game. Different uniform, same love of the game. Perhaps that's the best way to remember him, not just as one of baseball's funniest personalities, not just as a man with the unforgettable base running stories, but as an elite hitter whose accomplishments deserve to be remembered alongside the biggest offensive stars of his era. Sometimes history remembers the joke before it remembers the talent. With Babe Herman, it's worth remembering both, because behind every laugh was one of the sweetest left-handed swings baseball has ever seen. I'm Mr. Baseball, and this has been Players, a Smell Baseball podcast.